Hello everyone, welcome to a new chess video. It's very likely that with the trap I'm showing you right now, you'll start to cry. This trap is absolutely impressive. If you're a veteran of the channel who's been subscribed for over a year, it might sound familiar, but today we're gonna review it seriously because it's such an incredible trap, really. I'm not kidding. Some of you might actually cry. It's a trap. Let me give you a bit of context that a super good guy taught me, and it happens in the double king's pawn. If you don't happen to know the story, I was playing in a tournament, and when I finished my game, I went to watch a teammate's game. And that teammate, who has a 2200 ELO rating, used this clever trap against a rival with a very similar ELO and managed to win in an extremely impressive way. I was so amazed that I asked him, please, to sit down with me for a moment and show me that trap perfectly, as I wanted to share it with all of you. And so it was. He told me all about it in detail. Look, after the double king's pawn, okay, which are the two most popular moves in chess history, my teammate played knight e2. What a strange move. I was already holding my head in disbelief. Why does such a high-level player make such a weird move? He develops the knight to a very unnatural square, blocks his bishop, blocks his queen. It does absolutely nothing. And that's why I said he must have something prepared. Look, his opponent continued, in the most normal way possible. He played knight f6. He develops a piece. In fact, he develops the kingside knight while attacking a pawn. And do you think it ends here? Is this the only weird move he played? No. Then came f4. A very strange trap. I was already amazed because I was saying, let's see, the opponent is playing well. Now he's given away a pawn. Well, pay attention because here comes the next part. Black has two possible moves, right? Why? Because if he does anything else, we just take the pawn and attack the knight too. He only has two. One would be to capture this pawn, which isn't a good move because we just recapture here and it's just a pawn trade. But if the opponent realizes he has a way to win a pawn from us for free, and this way is simply to first capture this pawn here, we recapture, and now he captures this pawn here. If you notice, our opponent is a pawn up, and that's what happened in the game. And yes, if this happens, they've already fallen into your trap, because from here on, everything's forced. And look how easy it is for them to fall into this trap. I was amazed. I tell him, look, man, explain all the variations to me so I don't miss anything. How should I continue here? And he tells me, well, the key move is queen to e2. This move is already going to start making your opponent's moves forced moves. By the way, at the end of this video, once I show you this trap, we're going to test it in an online game, okay? So you can see that I'm chalk that it works. You'll see that this trap really works. It's incredible. All right, we attack the knight. Here, notice that if they defend against the track, for example with the bishop, we simply capture the knight. Therefore, they absolutely have to defend the knight. If they do it with a pawn, for example, with the f-pawn, they're losing the knight because we simply attack it with a pawn, it's pinned, and it can't move away, and on the next move we'd capture it. The same thing happens if they defend with the d-pawn. We attack it, and on the next move we'd capture it. So I'm sure you've all realized that the only move that defends the knight is queen to e7. Very good move. Even so, my partner showed me how to win anyway, because here, this is the only good move. We already know they'll play it if we don't win, and since they're gonna play it, we have this one here. Knight to d5, a great move. What does knight to d5 do? Well, look closely. It attacks the queen, 1, and it also attacks here, 2, to win the rook. And not only that, but be careful where you place the queen, because you have to keep defending the knight, otherwise I'm going to capture it. That's why if, for example, look at this, they come to defend this point with the queen, we simply capture the knight with check and we're up a piece. And the same thing happens if they keep defending the knight. Well, for example, we could come here and look at the triple fork we hit him with here. All right, now that we've seen all that, the opponent will realize they have a move that saves them, defending all three things at once. It moves the queen, defends this point, and defends the knight. What a good move. Well, the only one that saves is queen to e5. Alright, the opponent is realizing there are moves that save, but what they don't know is that they're lost anyway, because they're falling into our trap. Here you have to remember this super important move, knight to c3, and I'll explain why. Right now, they're threatening to capture this knight, okay? And since they have everything defended, we have to keep adding fuel to the fire. If they attack this knight, we defend it with knight to c3, and not only that, now we're attacking this knight here too, which can't capture, because if it does, they'd lose the queen. That's why they're going to have to think a lot all the time about what the perfect move is to save themselves from each situation. And even if they find it, we're going to end up winning. Look, now we have everything defended and we attack here, and it seems like there's not much way to defend it. However, here, what was played in this player's game, which is the most logical thing of all, is to attack this knight here. Why? Because this is the real headache of their position. It's the one that attacks everything. If we move the knight now, the attack is over. Our opponent would even end up with an extra pawn. It could, for example, capture here and absolutely nothing has happened. In other words, if they find this move, watch out, because only one move works for us. And pay attention, because the move is spectacular. Don't even think about moving this knight away. The move here is to play d4. An incredible move. Look, the queen is under attack. She can't move away because this one here would simply follow. Why are we moving the queen away from the only square that defends everything? You remember, right? It's the only square that defends everything. It's true that here the opponent, after thinking for a while, might conclude they can win. They can win back the material. How? Well, by capturing this pawn, which is free, okay? And how would things continue now? We would capture the knight, but they could recapture this one here with either the queen or the pawn. With both, they lose, okay? And I'm going to explain both to you because I told my colleague, hey, explain everything to me. Let nothing escape. I want all the variations to be clear for my followers. Otherwise, they'll play something weird and won't be able to win. Well, whether they take with the queen or with the pawn, they've lost the game. In fact, it's what you're already seeing. Whatever they do, they're going to lose. If they take with the queen, it's very simple. Look at this move, knight f6, and they can already resign. Double check. They can't take the knight because it's also check with the queen. So they have to move the king and we take the queen. Plenty of material, enough to resign. That's why they can't take this knight with the queen. So in the game, what happened? They took it with the pawn, but it doesn't matter. They're not saved. Now the check doesn't come from here, but the check comes from here. And you'll say, chess teacher, can't they take it with the bishop here? No, it's exactly the same thing. It's also check with the queen. Only move away. If from here you don't remember how to deliver checkmate because I'm warning you we're gonna deliver checkmate. Well, simple. You take this pawn, check, you take the rook, and you have enough material to win the game. Now, if you're like me and want to deliver checkmate in the opening and want to crush them, well, pay attention, because the checkmate comes in the following way. We enter with queen e8 check. What's the only move? The king can't escape through here. He has to escape through here. And the next move is this one here. We put in this double check and attack the queen. So at the very least, if you don't remember, you'll win the queen. At the very least, but we're actually going to deliver checkmate. Look, there are several options here. If they come here, we simply capture the queen with check and continue in the same way I'm going to show you on the other side. So don't worry. If they come here, we simply capture with check. What happens if, for example, they come here? You never have to worry about this knight because it's defended by the bishop. Therefore, we're going to keep giving checks with the queen. We enter through here. Now, if the king comes to this side, checkmate. He can't escape. And if the king comes to this side, well, look, he can't go here because of the queen. The only move is either here or here. If he comes here, mate, if he comes here, what happens? We take the queen with a discovered check. Now it's the bishop that comes into play, right? And this queen is covering these squares. So the king can't go here or here because of the queen, and he can't go here because of the bishop. Therefore, the only move is this one right here. You see it, right? And now we have to make the key move to deliver the checkmate. It's not an easy move to find, but when you see it, you'll say, wow, that's a good one. Come on, I'll give you 3 seconds to think. One, two, three. A key move. Look, I'll give you a hint. Notice that the queen is cutting off all of this, but the king can escape through here. So we come here with the queen. Better than giving check, huh? We come here with the queen because now we're threatening bishop takes pawn, checkmate on the next move. No matter what they do, it can't be stopped. If he comes, for example, with the knight, checkmate. If he comes, for example, with the bishop to give check, well, all they'll do is delay the mate by one move, because we block the check, and when they move it away, now we have checkmate with the bishop. That's why this trap is so powerful. But let's try it online to show you that it works, right? Let's go! Come on, let's try it in an online game. We're playing with the white pieces. Good, double king pawn. Exactly what we expected to set the trap with knight to e2. Here, we'd like them to play knight to f6. There it is, perfect. In fact, it's the most logical move. What they don't expect is that I'm gonna spring this great trap with f4. We're gonna leave him thinking for a good while now. The only way our opponent has to win a pawn is to first capture the f4 pawn and then capture the e4 one with the knight. In fact, he realizes it. Perfect. What do we have to do? You remember, right? We come here and look, quickly my opponent already thinks he's a pawn up, but what he doesn't know is that he's fallen into my trap. It's just spectacular. What are we going to do now? Well, we're going to place the queen on e2. Perfect. He only has one move here. Do you remember? If he defends with the pawns, we simply play d3 and win the knight. The only move to recover, or rather not to lose the knight, is queen to e7. Let's see if our opponent realizes and loses the knight. Or look, he plays queen to e7. The only move. Well, we studied in the video. What do we have to play here? Do you remember? Knight to d5. We attack the queen, we attack the c7 point, the pawn, and also, if the queen moves, we're attacking the knight on e4. So my opponent must realize that we're attacking all of this, and the only move that works is queen to e5. If our opponent plays well, they'll play queen to e5. If our opponent plays poorly, they'll play something else and lose the game immediately, though they'll lose anyway. You can see that here, as I said, we're putting our opponent in a lot of trouble, and they have to think hard to find the right move. In fact, here they're not playing. Look, queen to e5. Perfect. They're playing exactly what I told you in the video. Here they're attacking our knight and defending everything. So we have to play knight to c3. Super important. We defend the knight, and we're also attacking their knight. Here it's very tough for them because we're attacking the knight with two pieces, they only defend with one, and in the video I explained c6. Let's see if they play c6 to push that knight away or try any other move, and I'll take the chance to explain. Perfect. I'm going to explain how to punish any other move, so the video is fully complete, and whatever they do, I'll show you how to punish it. Here, they don't play the move I mentioned in the video, they play something else, which can happen quite often with my videos, right? It's logical, they won't always play what I tell you. That's why I say it's so important to see the idea. We're gonna play d4 anyway, attacking their queen, and they've lost the game. Why? Because what we want is to move that queen from the good square it has, which is defending everything, right? And that's why they have to move their queen now. For example, they move it to d6. I don't care. Simply, what am I going to do? In this case, I'm going to take the knight. They take back with the pawn, logical, but what am I going to do? Queen takes pawn, check. They have very few options here. They block with the bishop, but my friend, you've already lost the game. Because look at one thing. If my opponent's queen weren't there, I would give checkmate in one move. I do queen takes bishop, and it would be checkmate. However, that queen is in my way. So what am I going to do? Bishop to f4, and here you can already resign, because look, you're going to have to move the queen because I'm attacking it, and wherever you move it, I'm going to give checkmate with queen takes bishop. Notice that this trap is spectacular. Let's see what my opponent does here, but I'm telling you now, they can't do absolutely anything. Wherever they go, if they come to b4, simple. Giving check, we just play c3, they have to move the queen, and as soon as it moves, well, we're going to give checkmate with queen takes bishop. As you can see here, my opponent is already realizing it. I think they've lost the game, so we're not going to drag it out much longer. I'm not going to make ya wait all this time just to see that it works incredibly well. This trap deserves a big like from you. Please leave a big like because it's spectacular. Comment what you thought of it, okay? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and stay tuned because in the coming days, I'm going to give you a free book that I wrote. A digital mini book that I wrote, okay? For all of you So I hope you loved this video, truly, and I'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye.